Inside Saluki Athletics, presented by Paulie Eyes of Carbondale, the official coaches show of Saluki Athletics. Now, here is the voice of the Salukis, Luke Martin.
Whether you are craving a classic pizza or planning a special event, Paulie Eyes Pizza is here to provide an unforgettable dining experience. Come and taste why we've been a beloved part of the Southern Illinois pizza scene for generations. Welcome back, everybody, to Inside Saluki Athletics, presented by Paulie Eyes of Carbondale. I am Luke Martin, voice of the Salukis, joined by each and every week the head coach for the Southern Illinois Salukis, and it's always good, Coach Hill, to say the victorious Southern Illinois Salukis over the weekend against Incarnate Word. What was a phenomenal home crowd and a great way to start against what was a quality opponent against Incarnate Word over the weekend. Coach Hill, thanks for the time. Like I said, it's always much better to be talking with you on a Tuesday after a big win, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. It's always good to win. That's for sure. That's what these guys put in all the work for. So it's always good to get in the winning locker room.
Coach, I know obviously coming out of the game, a lot of injuries in terms of stuff that you had to really address. I know you just told everybody on your press conference just a little bit a while ago. Let's just go ahead and start with that news up front, just with DJ. I know everybody's been asking about DJ since he left the game over the weekend. Just for those that maybe haven't heard, for fans who are just tuning in, just kind of give an update on DJ and his status moving forward.
Yeah, DJ broke his hand, I guess a finger, knuckle, in a couple different spots. So he'll require surgery here, and he's going to get it pretty quickly, get it tomorrow. And then, 4 to 6 weeks probably with that. And then obviously it's on his throwing hand, so you're not going to be able to come back that as soon as that 4 to 6 weeks is up. So we'll just, play it by ear. He's a tough kid. That's who I hate it for the most. Obviously, as a coach, you can sit there, especially when you watch him play the way that he was playing. And we've talked about that on and off air of what who I think that he could be and was going to be. And I think Saluki fans got a taste of that. It's just a part of the game that we play. It's you never know. I continually tell our guys that. You saw Bohannon go down, and the week before, captain of the defense, kind of these are injuries too. Those two that they can't do anything about that. It's not that you weren't training as hard as you could, or nutrition, or anything like that. I mean, Bohannon gets kind of just caught up and tears his bicep. DJ kind of on not even a big hit, didn't even land on his hand, just got his finger, I guess, caught in a jersey. And so you hate it for the kids, because you watch them, put so much into it, and you hate it for them as a team. Like I've told our team this in training camp. I can remember, I don't know when it was in training camp, but I told them, like, look, if something were to happen with me, you see that with coaches. You never know, and Coach James is up, and he'll lead this team, and the expectation is to keep going, to keep fighting. And I would be disappointed if, Coach James wasn't ready to go. He'll be ready to go, and you just got to keep going. And so that leads an opportunity for Hunter. So obviously there was a quarterback competition going into this thing. If you didn't have two good players, there would be a competition. And so Hunter will be ready to play. You're excited for his opportunity. And I know in our building we have a lot of confidence going forward.
There's the other side of that too, Coach Hill, where when you look at it from the quarterback competition perspective, as you described, Hunter went down during fall camp. And if Hunter doesn't miss those practices, it was a tough neck-and-neck competition between both DJ and Hunter. Who knows how ultimately would have came out. But that's why, as you preach to your team throughout, whether it's yourself, as you talked about with you specifically, or with other guys on the team, it's really how you treat everybody day to day. It's not how you treat everybody once you get to moments like this, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. And you're exactly right. I mean, Hunter, had a, foot injury that was just kind of a freak thing for himself. So, it's just the way that our game is. As you do it long enough, injuries are a part of this game, and you have to recruit, 12 months out of the year to try to have as much competitive depth as you can. And I've said that all along, that we felt like we had two quarterbacks that can not only win games but win big games for us. and then so I hope for a speedy recovery. DJ's the type of kid that will probably come back quicker than you would expect somebody else to. Just pray for a good surgery tomorrow, and then he'll be back when he can get back. And so, yeah, I mean, other than that, injuries, everybody's asked me that. People text me and things like
Shocker.
that.
I'm stunned.
Yeah. But, yeah, we feel good. I mean, as far as how we came out of the game besides DJ.
I know we were touching up on it last week a bit. Knew Colin Bohannick, of course, would miss. He had his surgery on Monday. Did you get any word how successful his surgery was and how Colin's recovering?
Yeah, his parents are in town and constant communication with him. I had to come up to do the press conference, but I saw him and his parents coming at the end of practice and talking. He's in good spirits. It was a good surgery. I'm not a doctor, but they said that, the tendon was in like great shape as far as like you don't know until you get in there to reattach it. Sometimes if it was, in bad shape, it could take longer, but felt good about it, and he'll be on his road to recovery as well.
As you go throughout fall camp, injuries, et cetera, are going to be a part of it. It felt like for the most part, Coach Hill, you really had a productive fall camp in terms of being able to get contact in without a lot of major injuries. I know now, fortunately, he had that really bad dislocation of his elbow. You, of course, have DJ go down. In terms of the quarterback room with now Hunter and Jake, in terms of confidence level, have you got two guys right now? And just where you see that room in terms of, unfortunately, that injury bug has just bit that specific room really closely, which at times that's just what happens when you go throughout the year. There's just some position groups that get it worse than any other.
Yeah, and that's what I've just learned, that you just you take each day and whatever I wouldn't even call them problems, but you just have to have solutions and you got to move forward. And so whatever position that is, you got to coach up and you got to put the best product that you can out on the field on that Saturday. And so feel good. Obviously, Jake Curry, we talked about it. He got a ton of reps this fall camp because of Hunter's injury. So and he was here in the spring.
Yeah.
And so he's had, 1,000 reps so far. Really had a nice practice today. So if you're one play away, if you're the backup, and we'd be talking about the same things. We'd go put together the best game plan we can to go win the game.
Let's get to the positives now. I know the injuries have dominated kind of the conversation with the program over the last couple of days, but there were so many good things that your team did as a group on Saturday against such a really quality opponent. When you think about it, Incarnate Word hadn't lost back-to-back games as a program since the COVID year. I mean, that's a program that's been known to bounce back. They, of course, played a really competitive game the week prior against South Dakota State, so you knew you were going to get their best shot. And my goodness, that first half was just absolutely phenomenal on both sides of the ball, Coach Hill. What did your team just do so well to play complementary football that first half against the Cardinals?
Yeah, I think we've talked about this on here before. I mean, as far as just challenging them to have a competitive spirit and play the game the way it's supposed to be played, physical, attacking style, running to the football. I mean, there's from every single person on the sidelines with the right type of body language. That's been 3 games worth of stuff. So, I mean, as the head coach, just watching your team from practice to the game, that's what you're looking for. There's going to be some things schematically that happen throughout the game, but if the effort and the intensity is there, then you can make up for some of those things. And so I felt like that's what was there. It was a locked-in team that was focused and played well. There's so many positives that from that game. I mean, individuals playing extremely well, and the defense just playing with an effort. We knew it was going to be, teams are going to move the football. Especially when you got the skill players that they do and the offense, the style that they run. For us to get out to the lead, obviously everybody would wish we would have put a couple touchdowns in there the second half and not made that game even close. But we didn't, and then we found a way, again, similar to like the week before, the defense was just, especially that last series, just playing so hard, straining. That's what makes me the most proud, is finding a way to finish games in the fourth quarter, which we're going to be tested and have to do offensively and defensively. I thought Paul's punt and the last punt of the game set up the defense to be able to get a stop. So a lot of good complementary football, a lot of individuals that played extremely well. I felt like our nose guards, all three of them played at a high level. D. Love, Elijah Gunn, Peyton Reeves, all three of those guys rotating in and out create some problems for those guys. I thought, Lewis and Jamond, again, causing problems. Jake Perella's a guy that continues to get good snaps for us and plays with a physical mindset. Bogle and Shug Walker led the team in tackles, and Presto. All three of those guys are guys that you want on your football team.
Can you add to Chris Presto, because he's one of many guys in that linebacker room where, again, when you lose someone like Colin, everybody knows that's a huge, massive loss from a leadership perspective, et cetera. But we've said from the get-go, really since the spring, Coach Hill, that linebacker room is loaded, and guys now that maybe names that our fans aren't totally familiar with, they're getting familiar with them now, and Presto's definitely one of them.
Yeah, Presto, obviously Bogle having the game and his name and stuff, but Presto and Shug, both playing at a high level. Presto is more similar to probably Branson in the past, where he's athletic. He was a kid, coming out of high school that some people recruited him as an offensive player. He was really similar to Branson. When I recruited him, that was really what's like, this kid could be Branson Combs. And, he's gotten his body to be, a linebacker body. He's as far as that room goes, I've said that, from the beginning, pregame going into the season, like they kind of set the tone as far as like what it's supposed to look like and feel like, and the effort in which they play, the tenacity in which they play, the leadership that they show on and off the field. This fun group to be around.
As you look from just a defensive group, you're able to get guys like Jameer Khan back in. I thought Jameer had a really quality game back then, just the competitiveness that he brings to the back end defense. And then when you have to make those plays late, no better time than to get your first career interception for Vinny Pierre than on the last play of the game.
Yeah, no, Jameer set the tone from the first play of the game with his physicality and tackling. Probably some plays that the average fan doesn't see. But even on the last drive, they tried running a screen, and he's pressing the wide receiver. They can't block him. The quarterback can't throw it there because he's going to pick it off if he does. That's from him knowing what play is going to come, playing with a physicality that they couldn't match. And then we get an intentional grounding, and that's a play that, set the tone for the rest of the drive. And, he played an outstanding game. It was good to have him back.
Let's get back to the offensive side real quickly before we move over to SEMO, your next opponent. It was a main topic post-game because of what Kalu was able to do, of course, being named newcomer of the week this week in the Valley, and his offensive numbers. Of course, DJ getting those recognitions as well with him. But getting Hezekiah involved, I know those two guys, Hezzy, who we're going to talk to on the show today, and Kalu, those are weapons. It really feels like you've had some really talented receivers in your time, and you've had some really good cores. But, man, these are two rare guys. It feels like it's rare to have one of them, let alone two of them at the same time.
Yeah. No, it's nice to look out there and have a few guys that can go like that. Obviously Kalu they both did, both guys over 100 yards, and I'm glad that you're talking with Hezzy, special young man with a young family. I love watching him, be a dad, things that just get you excited as a head coach, even after the game, with his daughter up here, and they're all in Coach Grant's office, and she stands up for the first time. He's still got, he's not even showered yet. Just sharing those moments with them, he's so proud of being a father And then, probably really special to go out and have a game like that with your family in there. And so both of them are playing at a high level. We got to continue to do a good job of creating ways to get them the ball.
Let's look towards this weekend with SEMO. It's a program that just because of the relationship that you have with Coach Tuke, there's going to be tons of admiration and respect in that alone. But this has been an important game for a long time, even longer than what it's been for the battle for the wheel since 2018. Why is it, Coach Hill, that it just seems like this game is such a great gauge for both programs, and really whoever wins this game really turns out to have a really successful season?
Yeah, I think, every year is different. I don't think any of us go into being like, hey, if we win it's just it's the next game. And but they've been high physical games with a lot of emotion. We got to play with great emotion. We can't be emotional, but we've got to. I mean, that's what these games are. I mean, it's been a great game for us, especially because so many of our league games are like that, with the physicality, the way that they play, similar to a lot of teams in our league. And so, yeah, it's been a great series for us, and looking forward to another one Saturday.
What's been impressive from them on film when you've watched? We knew DeLaurent was a really talented guy a year ago, and when he went down, that really impacted their season a year ago, and we know how impactful those type of things can be. He's been back. He's thrown, I think, 108 passes the last two games. You guys as a group, I think, has only thrown 72 passes. So he's been slinging it a lot. What have you seen from him and his leadership after he got knocked out in the first game against North Alabama?
Yeah, I mean, he makes their team go for sure. Anytime you can have a sixth-year senior quarterback, he's not going to get rattled, can make all the throws. Yeah, we've got a big test. I mean, I think, we just saw one the last week with Incarnate Word, similar type player, honestly. When you think about FCS quarterbacks, those two guys would come up as top quarterbacks in the FCS, and we'll see a lot of them throughout the year. I don't know if you put out a top five. I think they're all on our schedule. So that's just what we're used to. I think that for Saluki fans, I think it's where our program is that it doesn't matter. I mean, we've got to go out and play against the best. If you want to be a top five program in FCS, the entire country, then you got to go out there and perform. You want to play against good players. You want to play against good programs. You want the wins to matter, and this schedule provides that.
You, of course, Coach Hill, are just so integrated with the program, not just because of course, being the head coach here, but former player, all that. I don't have to rehash all of it. But I bring all that up to ask this question to you is, what are you most proud about with the program and where it's at right now? That's not saying that that this is it. You know that there are still more steps that you want to take as the leader of the program. But when you look at to be really the focus of FCS the last 2 weeks with the way the schedule's panned out, your opponents, and now the level of respect that your program's gaining, what is it that you're most proud about the way your program looks right now?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I didn't know I was getting that one. But no, I mean, I'm proud of a lot of things. I'm proud of the way that we've built like the infrastructure. Coaches wanting to be here, stay here. I think from out inside the building, not out there on the field, of getting that right, which I believed in wholeheartedly. Everybody talks about culture, but really getting your culture right, that can be a variety of ways and things. But just the infrastructure of, building a competitive team and recruiting that way. And then I think that that we've proved, if you would ask other coaches or programs like what you're going to get against Southern Illinois, I mean, I want to be the head coach of a program like they're going to be physical. They're going to play super hard. They're going to be well coached as far as the disciplineness goes, as far as just not just schematically, but yeah, it's sound football, what you're going to get. It's not going to be easy, undisciplined, things. That doesn't mean you're going to win every game. That doesn't mean that you're not going to have your hiccups and all those kind of things. But you can just tell when you put on the film and then when you play, win or lose, that there's a respect there that that's a good team, and you got to do that consistently year in and year out, game after game. It's not easy to do, and so ultimately, yeah, you're not where you want to be. I mean, I don't think anybody that's not winning championships consistently feels like you're there, and so we still, have that to go reach. That means that we've got to work even harder. That means that we have to be honest with ourselves on ways that we can get better. And that's what we continue to do.
I always try to keep you off a little bit.
That's right. That's good.
Throw a question at you that maybe you at least expect. Hey, I know Mike True and I are just excited that this will be our second year doing the wheel game together, but it'll be our first time actually being at the stadium.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that last year.
Yeah,
you guys were
one of the best. One of the best environments all year.
And you guys weren't there. You weren't there.
But I bring that up too to also know it's going to be a great environment on Saturday. This game's always, I know, one of the most highly attended, one of the highly anticipated for all the plethora of reasons that we said, but especially now that both teams are really darn good, and that's the type of environment. Not that this past weekend wasn't a fun environment, but this weekend is going to be even more juiced up.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's when you say about the program, what you're proud of, having expectations. I'm proud that, when you win by 14 at Austin Peay, you're at Walmart and be like, I made that one a little close. I mean, I can remember being 2-9 and 14-point win on the road. So that I'm proud that those are the expectations from people. Why didn't you win 49-21 against the 12th ranked team in the country? And so sometimes I just smile and. I mean, shoot, I get those from my friends sometimes. It's almost like a backhanded text, good win, but, and so it's we just have to keep that. But my point is that the people showing up to Saluki Stadium excited about watching good football, and it should be a great environment. Obviously, family weekend. Probably a lot of people that haven't been here, whether it's freshman families, they're from all over, they're in town. It's great for our university. Family weekends all over the country are always big for the schools, but when you can have a great home football game to put the icing on the cake for those families and their weekend, it'll be a good atmosphere.
Coach, wish you the best this week, of course, in preparation for SEMO, and excited to have more coverage coming out this week for the game on Saturday. It's going to be a fun one.
All right. Appreciate it, Luke.
Once again, that was head coach Nick Kill. Join us. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we'll be joined by Nashon Hezekiah, joins us from the receiver room. This is Saluki Football and Inside Saluki Athletics from Poly Eyes of Carbondale. Poly Eyes Pizza is more than just a restaurant. It's a Southern Illinois tradition with new owners Jason and Sula, an SIU alumni. They continue the legacy of excellence set by our founders. Every visit to Poly Eyes promises the same exceptional quality and warm, welcoming atmosphere that customers have loved for decades. Welcome back to Inside Saluki Athletics, which is presented by our friends at Poly Eyes of Carbondale. Well, another guy you can always count on is Nahshon Hezekiah, who joins us here on the program. Hezzy, welcome. It's good to have you on the program.
I appreciate you having me.
You know, your smile has been infectious ever since you've gotten here.
Thank you. I appreciate
But I know
it.
a big reason for that is because you love being a Saluki.
Yes, sir.
What's it been like just for you in the program, getting to know Coach Hill, getting to know all these guys? What's been the best part of now being part of Saluki Nation for you?
The best part for me has been like the support system. Like just coming here and just having help, the support I needed to get better on the field, having support from my teammates when I do make an issue or I mess up or anything like that. They're just there to pick me up every time. So that's been the biggest thing for me since I've been here.
The other part is you got your family with
Yes,
you
sir.
too. And that's what amazes me about the receiver room with you guys is that you and Kalu both being dads and you really just being a proud dad, bringing your daughter around so often.
Yeah.
What has that been like to share this with your daughter?
I've always the main reason for me leaving Howard was because I wanted my family together, and like being here, it gave me the opportunity to have my daughter with me. So it's been fun, like having her and my beautiful girlfriend around, coming to the football games, being in the facility, being able to having them meet everybody. So it's just been fun.
That's not an easy thing to do, has he? There's been around it a while. I know
sir.
you have too. Probably been around some teammates that get put in those type of situations and don't fully embrace it.
Right.
How have you embraced it and made it such a huge positive? It doesn't weigh you down. I mean, you can tell it brings an extra energy level to you and makes you even better in every way.
And it does, just having a daughter, it's somebody else you have to play for. It's not just yourself. You're not just playing football so you can stay in school or for a scholarship. You're playing for somebody else now. So that's been a big thing that I've been working on, just remembering every day that I have a daughter that I'm doing this for.
What's the best thing about being a girl dad? What's your favorite thing to do with your daughter?
It's you can be having your worst day. I can have a horrible day at practice. I can go to practice and drop 5 balls. But as soon as I go home, all she knows is daddy. She wants to play. She's smiling. That's all she knows. So that's probably been the best thing for me, just having a daughter in general. I just love it.
Now, has she been more of a daddy's girl?
Yes.
So far? Oh, yeah.
I made sure of it. She said that at first and everything.
Oh,
yeah.
great. And, of course, Coach Hill, he broke the news in the first week. She was able, I guess, stand for the first time in the office just over the weekend in Coach Grant's office.
After the game, she loves Coach Grant. standing up for the first time for a long time, too. We trying to get her to take those first steps. So when she does that, that's going to be the best thing.
Now, is she going to have good hands?
Yes.
Yes. You're going to
I'm
make sure that
as soon as she can start walking and running, I'm going to put a resistance band around her and we're going to get on the hill.
She's going to be doing workouts with me in no time.
I'm going to make sure of it.
Let's get to the football side standpoint,
Yes, sir.
Hezzy. We've seen it. I mean, and from the spring to fall camp, what you could bring and the type of talent and skill that you have. I know in the first couple weeks, maybe wasn't exactly what you wanted to show. So how big was just Saturday? I know you don't look at it always from an internal selfish standpoint, but how big was Saturday's game just for you?
It was a confidence booster. It just let me know that, I can do it. A lot of guys, I was telling a lot of guys, that was my first in-game deep ball. A lot of people don't know that. I caught my first in-game deep ball here. Out of my 3 years at Howard, I didn't catch a deep ball. This was my first one, so it was a confidence booster. That game, I needed it. My teammates, they helped me through it all. So, yeah, I needed it for sure.
You came close to catching the very first one, too.
Yeah. I'm going to get that back. Don't even worry about it. I'm going to get that back for you.
I know my partner, Mike True, would bring that up, too. You could have caught one a little bit earlier there.
Yeah,
right.
Could have had a touchdown.
Yes, would have had a touchdown indeed. I know a little bit, can be deflating news when DJ goes down after the type of game that you guys have, but there's the utmost confidence, I know, in Hunter and how that competition has been throughout the camp. So how do you guys as an offense just really build off of what you were able to do last weekend with now Hunter kind of leading the way?
Just doing what we've been doing, just working. It doesn't matter. Of course we love DJ, but at the same time Hunt can do the same thing. So we're just working, just getting better in practice, the extra work, watching film, just doing what we got to do to get better so we can be successful on the field.
Whenever anyone's asked me about Hunter, DJ tremendously athletic, which we saw that on Saturday night for sure in that game. But sometimes Hunter doesn't always get the credit, too, for him being an athlete. Can you just, as someone that's worked with Hunter a lot, worked with all the quarterbacks, but describe the type of athlete that he is, that sometimes people just think he's kind of a statue, stands in the pocket and just throws it. I really believe Hunter can do a lot
Hunter can
more.
move around. Like, if Hunter needs to, Hunter is going to move around in that pocket. Hunter's going to get outside the pocket, make the throws. He can roll left and throw right. He can roll right and throw left. So it's like Hunter can do the same thing. If not, then they're going to see it this weekend. He's going to put it on notice for sure. Like, I know it's coming.
Nashawn Hezekiah joins us, Saluki wide receiver. Let's talk about your other receiver counterpart, Keontae Lewis, which helps to have both of you guys out there on the field and playing at such a high level. What have you enjoyed just the relationship part of just getting to know K-Lou? Because both of you guys are just tremendous human beings.
Yeah, we gotten close. Like, we both were mid-year transfers. We came in, and, like, at first we didn't really know nothing about each other. We didn't know the offense. The offense was a struggle for us to learn. And, like, it was some things that I needed to learn on the field. And, like, I worked out with K-Lou a lot, Vincent Davis a lot, Bradley Clark. So it's like we built that relationship from the time that we got on campus. So it's like it's just easy now. It's just all coming together. Before every game, we come up to each other, hug each other, let them know we love each other and all that stuff. So it's like it's a relationship building for sure.
I would say describe as speed because but everyone saw it on Saturday.
Yeah.
Like, when the first time you saw him actually go into high gear, like, what was your reaction like? If you even had time to look, because I know you're on the field a lot at the same time.
See, the first time I saw K-Lou actually, like, kicking into gear was doing workouts. And so, like, I always joke with K-Lou and told him, like, I'm faster than you. I raced K-Lou and everything. He beat me by a little bit. But I always knew K-Lou was fast. We always knew K-Lou was fast. Like, his takeoff is just, like, it's different. Like, when he get off the ball, he's getting off the ball for sure. And, like, if you let him get going, it's over with.
But you let him get going and you let him win those times, right? Even if he just
like,
by a little bit.
I let him win. I told him that I had let him win. It wasn't nothing serious.
One of the areas, too, where it looked like a huge production was Shady was running the ball really well. Talk about Sean Lester. Jalen Benefield has really looked physical as well in the backfield. What was just the feeling of just the offensive unit where it wasn't just you guys at receiver? It just felt everybody, and then complimenting the defense as well, was just gelling really well on Saturday.
It was clicking. Like, when offense, like, you can see it in practice also. When we have our days when we're, like, clicking, everything is hitting, the running game, the passing game, blocking, everybody's doing their job. Like, we're unstoppable. Like, we put up 35 points in the first half.
Yeah.
Like, we had a great game. We had 2 receivers with 100 yards plus in the first half. So it was like, when we do what we're supposed to do, nobody's going to be able to stop us. We just got to keep it going.
What's an area for you, Hezzy, when you look at your game where you're still going, I got to get better here? Like, what's an internal focus point right now for you?
Route running. I want to get better at my route running. I've been working towards it, like just doing little things after practice, tapping in with VD, tapping in with Brad, Keontae, any of them boys, just trying to get better with my route running. And probably I'd say really just route running right now. I want to get my route running better. I've been working on releases, got my releases down point, catching a lot of balls in practice, after practice, just trying to get better at everything, honestly.
You talked about route running, which I think most folks and fans will understand what you mean by that, but but kind of dive into how important it is. When you say route running, that's specific details of your route running, and that was an area I thought on Saturday you guys were really good at in terms of being very specific in your routes because you ran them in specific areas to get open within their defense.
So, like, with route running, you can get away with a lot of things on certain routes, but at the same time you can't because, like, say if I got a curl. On a curl route, I don't want to get to the top of my route, and I don't want to be just winding it around or not coming back at a sharper angle because it gives the DB enough time to recover and break on the ball, intercept it, and knock it out of my hands, whatever he has to do. But if I can get to the top of a curl route and come back down like at a sharp angle, I can beat him to the catch point, catch the ball before him, turn upfield, get yak. And, like, you can get away with different things like on the go ball, release and then run fast. On the post, you want to stick and get out your break and run fast. Like, those are easier routes to run, but I want to work on, like, more of my intermediate routes, medium short running, short routes, all that stuff.
What are the biggest differences of the offensive scheme that you were in to now from a receiver perspective? Like, what's changed in terms of maybe more ownership, more things that you have to pay attention to here, Hezzy?
I think for me, I gained a lot of confidence once I came here. Like, they threw me into positions to make plays. They threw me into positions to catch the deep balls in practice, to get comfortable, get my ball and get the ball in my hands on reverses, hitch routes, everything like that. And I just wasn't getting those same opportunities at my last school. And there's nothing against those guys. It's just how the offense was ran. Because, like, we had 3 great running backs there. Jared Hunter, Ian Willie, he's with the Bears now. And we had Eden James, Edwin James' son. So it's like we had the running game. Then we had a couple of receivers. So it's like I'm just getting all the opportunities that I wanted there here now. And it's just helping me become a better athlete.
You guys have a stacked room. I know everyone's talking about what K-Lou's brought, what you brought, and deservingly so. You guys have earned that. But can you just go deeper into the room of, I mean, you know what VD brings, of course, but even guys like Bradley Clark, who maybe don't get his name said a ton, but had a huge block in the Austin Peay game. You guys take a lot of pride in your blocking, too, which we can add on to that. But just how that room, there's a lot of talent there. There's a lot of competitiveness there. But doesn't seem there's really any bitterness towards anybody who's getting the opportunity.
It's not because, like, stuff like that, it starts over the offseason. Like, you don't want to just be in the offseason this slow. I'm better than you. I'm better than you. I'm coming here to take your spot. Like, when we came here, it wasn't nothing set in stone. Coach Grant let everybody know that, like, everything has to be earned. Like, everybody's in here competing. It's nobody just being given anything. So, like, that helped us a lot because we knew, okay, it's not no favoritism going on. We can come in here. We can work. We can get better. We can make each other better and just work to get to our goals. And that's what we did all spring, all summer, all winter. We just worked together. And then, like, all of this stuff just going to play out by itself.
There's so many great things about your guys' room, and I believe it does start with who your position coach is, which we're going to get Coach Grant on here right after you. What have you enjoyed about him? Like, what's been the best thing about his room, his leadership?
That's my guy. Coach Grant, like, just from a coaching standpoint, he's supportive. Like, when I first got here, I was like, Coach Grant, I don't know how I'm going to learn this playbook. I'm like, he always told me, like, you're going to get it. Just stay calm. It's going to come. Like, don't worry about messing up. Coach Grant was big. When I first got here, he was big on me just going out there and just playing football, not worrying about messing up, not worrying about dropping the ball, not worrying about running the wrong route. He just told me to go out there and play, and that's when I made most of my plays in the spring was by me just going out there just running around, just playing football. And, like, he's been big with support with London, with Daisha, my girlfriend, like family, anything. He makes sure I'm okay.
I'm telling you what, with your personality, Hezzy, like, have you ever thought about doing the Hezzy Power Hour? I mean, like, we do shows
I would
all
love
the time.
to. I'll do it.
I'll
do it.
I think you'd be a really good host, man.
Believe it or not, this is my third time doing an interview. So
two of them with me so far. Yeah, one in fall camp and one here today. So I think you got the personality for it. But the good news is, though, you have really good skill on the football field.
Yes,
so
sir.
Let's accomplish.
We're gonna work on that first, and then we'll spin back to the other option.
Let's work
sir.
on the football skill first. But Hezzy, it's been so awesome to get to know you,
Yes,
and
sir.
obviously your family too, since you've been here. Appreciate you hopping on the show with
Yes,
us
sir.
today, and
I appreciate
look forward to. I'm sure. Actually, before I let you go, what's it going to be like to play in really probably your first true college football rivalry game this weekend? The environment's going to be great. There is a rivalry trophy on the line. Like, what's that emotion going to be like?
I'm ready. It's gonna be fun because, like, I don't know if you heard about it, but you ever heard of, like, Hampton, like University of Hampton?
I've heard of the school. Yes.
So, like, we had HU versus HU, and they think they're the real HU, and Howard is the real HU. So it's like that rivalry game was always big. But here, like, I love our fans. Like, the pregame experience for me this past time, I loved it. Like, just running through the crowd, the kids yelling and signing footballs, taking pictures. I loved it. So I'm ready.
Now, did you have a rivalry trophy with Hampton at all, or was it just?
I never got to beat Hampton.
Oh, okay.
I never beat Hampton.
Okay.
My 3 years, I never beat Hampton.
Oh, man. Well, we're going to have to change that now this weekend with SEMO coming in here.
Yes, sir.
Hezzy, appreciate the time, brother. Thanks for coming on. Once again, that was Nahshon Hezekiah. We're going to take a break here on the show. When we come back, we're going to be joined by the receiver coach in Zach Grant. This is Inside Saluki Athletics, presented by Poly Eyes of Carbondale.
Middle of the field has Keontae Lewis there. Beat his man over the shoulder grab for a touchdown. Streaks right across the Allen Salukis in white and right near that national championship typing on that maroon wall. Makes it 6-0. Southern Illinois pinning the PAT. A 37-yard touchdown reception for Keontae Lewis, his first as a Saluki. SIU has it at their own 37-yard line. Chest high snap to Williams. Play action near side. Has Hezekiah below the numbers 50. Stays on his feet 40. Still near sideline 30. At the 20. Tries to make man miss at the near numbers at the 15. And that's where they'll officially mark him down. Under 3 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Tie game at 7. DJ Williams with Sean Lester to his near left hip. Play action. No, they're going to give it to Lester. He's going right, trying to get out to the numbers. Missed tackle by Dude Smith. Goes to the goal line. Touchdown. Sean Lester rolls right into that maroon end zone. Dude Smith missed the first initial tackle, and Sean Lester stayed on his feet at those far numbers. Salukis looking for their third offensive touchdown of the game. Lester to his far left tip of Williams. Now it's Schwinneman, the tight end in motion from left to near right. He's offset to the left. Knee-high snap. Williams pressured out. He's flushed to the near right. He's going to run. Williams to the 20. Open space 15. Still below the near numbers. 10. Stays on his feet. 5. Reaches with his right hand. And he's in. He's into that maroon end zone. Touchdown. SIU.
The DJ effect.
As soon as he avoided that rush and got to the outside, it opened up like the Red Sea, and then he carried a guy into the end zone.
It was the maroon sea.
Yes.
All he could see was that maroon end zone. Southern now 50 seconds. Southern's got all 3 timeouts if they want to use any of them. Williams still in the gun. Schwindeman the offset tight end to the left. Some of the Saluki fans saying go. Knee-high snap, 3-step drop. Williams with time, taking a shot near side. Hezekiah's there. Helmet high behind his head catch. Hezekiah went down to the ground. He reached up helmet high, caught it nearly right atop his helmet as he landed on his back. And the clock stops to move the chains. 12 seconds till the end of the half. We'll be now in the pistol. Lester stands right behind him. Williams will put both of his black cleats right on that white 5-yard line. Takes the snap, play action, looking end zone, wide open, Schwindeman there, makes the chest high grab for the touchdown. And with 8 seconds to go in the opening half, Ryan Schwindeman with his 2nd career touchdown in as many weeks. And it's Southern Illinois 34, Incarnate Word 14, hitting the PAT.
Discover the authentic taste of tradition at Pollyeyes Pizza, a Carbondale landmark, proudly serving Southern Illinois for over 55 years. Located at 509 South Illinois Avenue, their family-owned pizzeria is renowned for its commitment to fresh, high-quality ingredients and time-honored recipes that make Pollyeyes a favorite for Southern Illinois pizza lovers. Now, finally, one of our favorite position coaches for Saluki football joins us here on Inside Saluki Athletics, which is from our friends at Pollyeyes of Carbondale, is Zach Grant, who joins us. I tell you, Coach Grant, you got some big shoes to fill now. I mean, Nahshon Hezekiah came in, and I think he broke the viewership record here on the show. So, but now I see more numbers populating. So you may be the one that's actually bringing out the love here on the show today.
I'm sure he did. He loves the camera and spotlight. All of them do.
They resemble their coach.
Yeah.
Right? Would you say?
I don't know about that, but
Coach, let's get to your group, though. I mean, we've from fall camp and even in the spring, you were like, Luke, I truly love coming in each and every day to get to work with these guys. What's been so special about this group where there's a lot of talent there and guys who probably could play at a lot of other schools, but they want to be a part of a winning team and they want to be a part of a really strong position group that really have to sacrifice a lot right now?
Yeah, no, that it starts who they are, as people. I think we did, as a staff, I think we did a really good job at bringing the different transfers in and had a good high school class. And, speaking just from my room, though, I mean, those guys, I don't know if I've coached a room that's been this close. They all gel together, and it's fun. It's fun to come to work every day with them. There's a lot of personalities, and you deal with that every day. But the guy you just talked to, he's got a big personality, but no, they're fun, and they're competitive. They want to work. They do. Honestly, they make it pretty easy on me. Sure, you make mistakes and stuff like that, but very rarely do you see them make the same mistakes twice. And they take pride in knowing what to do and executing. So,
and not only taking pride in knowing what to do from a football standpoint, what impresses me about Hezzy is the pride he takes in being a father, and I know Kalu as well. Like, how has that dynamic really within your room of seeing how detailed those guys are in their work, but also seeing how they're able to carry that over to their personal life and from their personal life to football as well?
So this is the first time I've had a player, who's had a kid, and not just one. Now I got 2. It's awesome. It really is. I've been around London, Hezzy's daughter, a little bit more than Kalu's son. I got to see Kalu for the first time, met his son first time after the Austin Peay game, and you see them in the building and in a football mode, and obviously they're having fun, they're goofing around. But then when you get to see them, with their kids, it's a completely different side. I'm proud of both of them. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, they're both really good kids. low maintenance guys that come in. They love football. They want to win. They want to make plays and get the ball. But when you see them off the field, but the Wednesdays and Thursdays are my favorite days because Hezzy comes in, he picks London up after daycare and brings her in, and so she sits on my lap, and we got Miss Rachel on one monitor, and then we got the film on the other monitor, and so I could sit there all day. So she comes in. I mean, it's awesome. I'm gonna definitely enjoy these just this fall and yeah. So I'm super proud of Hezzy and Kalu both. They're unbelievable kids, and they're gonna be great dads, and you can just tell they care. They care, a lot about their kids, and that comes first. So
And to get them, one, on the field, but also stay on the field, I know was a huge part of it too. And, just to let you know, Coach Rowland would tell me whenever I would meet with them, I'd be like, man, how do you get those guys to stay on the field longer? He said, well, talk to their position coach. He put a lot of it on you, which I know that really shocks you with Blake Rowland. But
sounds like him.
It sounds like you're a fearless leader of the OC, but the fans saw it. I mean, what we saw throughout fall camp, well, I know you've seen even longer than fall camp, back to the spring and even over the summer. Those two guys just had a different dynamic, Coach Grant, that you probably just honestly haven't had. And that says a lot because there's been some talented guys that have been in that receiver room in the past.
Yeah, I mean, keeping them healthy is the biggest thing. I think you saw Kalu cramp the first couple games. He really hasn't played in a full game for 2 years, so – whether that was I could have done a better job, rolling them. It's hard to take them off the field, because you get out there and, any given play we could call a shot and, or something that's going to go to him and you want him to be out there for it. But this last week he really, really took pride in, his nutrition and all that kind of stuff. So I told him if he didn't cramp, I'd get food for everybody. So he didn't, and so we had to buy some food for the guys yesterday. But no, Mike, our trainer, does a good job with them, and I know they bug him a lot, but yeah, I mean, just more so just pushing them to get in the training room, take care of themselves on and off the field with nutrition, hydration, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, I this last Saturday it was good. I don't think it was necessarily a surprise to anybody in our office. It wasn't a surprise to me because I get to see them do it every day, and but it was awesome to be able to see them go out there in a game and make plays like that, and yeah, I was happy for them.
Is this group, and look, it's early, and there's a lot of games still to go, but from at least you can say a blind eye, because us as broadcasters can be blind sometimes in terms of things we notice throughout a game, but Coach Poor, Mike, and me have really noticed during the games, it seems like your receiver group has been really good at run blocking. And it's not just in terms of they're going out and getting catches. They've been able to really kind of spread it out and really embrace all aspects that they're in charge of kind of doing. Do you see that as well? I'm sure it's probably an area that you can always get improvement on, but where have you seen that group so far in that area?
They're definitely not afraid to block. I think the receiver room, they want to catch balls and run routes, and we have big receivers, and so I think this last week especially, just telling them if in the run game it's going to help us out in the pass game, and so I think they did a really good job last week. That was the best week of blocking that we have for sure. We definitely make some mistakes in that area. We got to get a lot better in that area, and that's something it's going to be week to week and continuing to push those guys, but. Yeah, I don't know if Coach Rowland would agree or not, but definitely Coach Clark. But yeah, no, it's definitely something we talk about every day, and we work on it, once, twice a week. And but they're definitely willing, which yeah. I've been a part of rooms where they don't want to block, and it shows, and it's frustrating. But these guys, I mean, yeah, I don't have a whole lot bad to say about them. They work really hard. So
Zach Grant, wide receiver coach for Saluki football, joins us here on Inside Saluki Athletics, which is brought to you by Poly Eyes of Carbondale. As we kind of continue with the group just offensively, I know can get a little bit of wind out of your sails when you play so well and then just some injuries start to mount. What have you enjoyed about just this week so far in practice? I know, again, we're here on a Tuesday. You haven't had a ton of practice time yet. But what's been good of just the response of everybody since you've had some days here in between now and the game and just getting back to it and really having that workman-like mentality.
Yeah, no, it's you gotta wash it and move on to the next game. We got a lot of games left, and it was good to see. But I think now and what I've told them is now that's the expectation. You've done it, and so now we gotta build on it and be better. And so yeah, I mean you gotta obviously enjoy the wins and enjoy the good games that you have. But come Monday, it's moving on, and so. Obviously a tough opponent this next week with SEMO, and a lot of respect for them. It was one of the craziest games I think I've ever had to coach in and be a part of last year. One of the ugliest games I've ever coached. But yeah, so I mean, you got a lot of respect for them. They always come ready to play, and so it'll be fun. But definitely got to be ready for them.
Hey, there's no such thing as an ugly win.
No,
no,
a win's a win. But
I know.
I'm
sure in terms of how you felt after that one, could definitely be some stress in that area. Which, when you're in these rivalry games, they're stressful on both sides. I know for both teams and programs. Before we kind of move along, Coach Grant. There's always those areas where when you're around each other so much in fall camp, you get to see really the depth being able to get developed. And I think everybody knew, man, DJ and Hunter, both of those guys can help this team win games. We've seen it with DJ so far this year. Hunter got a heck of an arm. He's a heck of an athlete as well. What has you excited? I know he's not within your position group, but of course works very closely with your position group. You feel for DJ. What makes you excited for Hunter's opportunity starting this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I've been here for 2 years, and I've seen Hunter make some throws that I haven't seen anybody else make, So I think he's up for the challenge. Our guys are excited about it. Obviously all last spring and summer, fall camp, the guys have been catching them and running for them, and it's next man up mentality, But I'm excited for Hunter, and I know he's going to do a really good job, and this is kind of his first go at it, So I'm excited for him. I really am.
As a receiver room, yes, great things you've done, but how do you stack it up now, Coach Grant? What are the biggest messages to your group this week of got a building block, but now let's build on top of what we were able to accomplish a week ago and keep having success as we move throughout the year?
Yeah, it's just going to be consistency in your preparation and cutting it loose on Saturdays. I think, offensively, we put a lot on our guys, and it's up to them to come up and whether it's get the extra work in and the film work and things like that. But yeah, it's just you have to enjoy the wins, like I said, enjoy the wins and move on, and which I feel like we've done that. I had a good practice today, and we just have to be consistent. I think that's the biggest thing. It's sure you go out and you have 100 yards or whatever, however many yards you had in the game, and then next week you go out there and you have 3 or 4 MEs and a couple drops, things like that. It's just a matter of being consistent and being consistent playmakers on the perimeter with whatever we ask them to do, whether it is in the run game, pass game, making plays down the field. So yeah, I mean that's kind of the message this week. It's just building off of what we did last week, but we got to get better. And there was mistakes that we made. I mean, we had some things that need to get cleaned up, but yeah, so just being consistent with everything that we do.
I designed the show this way too. We got Justin Fetcho, who's about to come in, the head coach of our Saluki golf program, and you're the best golfer on staff. So that's why we have you hand the baton off to Coach Fetcho.
I'm not. I wish I was. I try hard, but I've had a bad case of the shanks, man, the last couple of years. It's been rough, so I might need to get with him. No, I think
who is the best golfer on staff? If you had the I know that's putting a lot of pressure on you right now because people take a lot of pride, like in the pickleball game. Like when you say who's the best pickleball player, it's probably like best golf player too.
I hate saying this. I hate it because it just makes me want to throw up. But I play golf with Coach Clark most of the time, and Coach Clark is probably the best. I shouldn't say that. Meade is definitely, as far as like the position coaches, I've played with Meade a few times, and Meade is like a consistent 70s shooter.
Ooh.
So Meade's the best, but who I play with the most, unfortunately, it's Dan.
Well,
So nobody wants that. But
Meade gives me a hard time because he thinks I spend a lot of time on a golf course. It sounds like Meade spends a lot of time on a golf course.
I don't see him a lot. I don't see him a lot, but when I do see him,
It's really good.
Yeah, I mean he can stroke it. So yeah, he's pretty good. But yeah, I'm trying. I'm not a quitter though. So
we'll see. We'll try to get Coach Feccio and you connected
Yeah.
to work on that. Zach, it's always great catching up with you. Appreciate the time, especially you and Hezzy jumping on the show. And it's going to be a fun environment here on Saturday. Looking forward to the game against SEMO.
Let's do it.
Once
Excited.
again, that was Zach Grant. Join us here on the show. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we're going to be joined by men's golf coach Justin Feccio. You are watching Inside Saluki Athletics, presented by Polly Eyes of Carbondale. All right, we always got to save the best for last here on the Polly Eyes of Carbondale Inside Saluki Athletics Coaches Show. I was just joking with them right when we were coming on. Justin Feccio joins us, the director of Saluki Golf. Coach Feccio, always good to see you. And look, it's your season. Feels like your season just ended at Purdue just the other day. Now, all of a sudden, in a blink of an eye, you're going back there next week.
Here we are. I know, right? Here we are. New season upon us, but yeah, very exciting and always a good time to go to some place where you're pretty familiar and it's not too far of a drive. So yeah, so we're looking forward to it.
Well, I guess first things before we dive into your team, can you help the Saluki football staff with their golf game? It sounds like Coach Grant and some of those guys, need some help.
Yeah,
so,
it sounded like, just in that brief conversation I caught with him out there, he's got the physical tools, but just kind of right there between the ears, he gets in his own way a little bit.
You've never had to deal with that? With
No. That's the first time I've ever heard of that.
I mean, everything between the ears is fine with all the golfers you recruit. It's never
That's
a
right.
problem.
That's right. That's
never,
right.
Never a problem.
What a game this thing is. Just like he was saying, you go out one day, everything's just straight, looks great, and the next day it's not. It's just it is. It is a mentally challenging game, that is for sure.
Mentally challenged game. That's why you have no gray hair, Coach Feccio.
I appreciate that. Yeah, well, my oldest son tells me to just cut it real short so that you can't see that gray stuff hanging out.
Well, let's get to your group. So much that you were able to accomplish a year ago. I believe 4th Valley title in 8 years for the program, which speaks volumes just about the consistency that you've been able to build since you've come back here for the second time around. What do you still like about what you've maintained with this group and what you've learned so far? And only 1 week into this point, the fall is really a good finding out period because you challenge your team with an extremely difficult schedule this time of year. But how do you feel so far, Coach Feccio, about your group?
No, I think, we're still a new group. We got a lot of new faces. We do have some returning faces. But I think anytime you're blending new people and new personalities together, you're trying to figure it all out. I will say, in the first couple weeks, I found that we've got an extremely hardworking group. Guys are, and that's all across the board from golf course to I see them down there in the gym getting extra workouts in, working hard in the classroom. I think we've just got a great group of people that are working hard, and and I think that they want to be coached. We've done a lot of talks, a lot of post round talks. We've had the one event. It was an okay start. I know we had aspirations for a little bit higher, but we learned, and I think that's where we've tried to take these last couple of days is take what we learned from that event, and then now we're fast forwarding. We get ready to leave here in a couple of days to go play another one, and I think we've got a group that's excited about competition, and that's always a good thing to have as a coach is your guys that are always just ready to go compete, and that's what I'm excited about with this group.
We talked to Frank and Carson at the end of last season when we did our little sit-down together with them. How have those guys, in terms of their improvement? You mentioned there are some familiar faces within your program. That's an area where you look at a lot of your numbers throughout the years, Coach Fetcho. You've seen guys make big jumps over years and make improvements. Where do you see those guys specifically making a jump here in the fall?
That's and I'm sure that we talked about this on when we talked with them, but that's the thing that talked about just with the returners alone was, if you take a look at any time that we've been successful where we've been able to win and go on, you have the people that were in the program the year before, 2 years before, 3 years before. Like, we preach player development and growth, and our team's only going to go as far as our players continuing to improve and get better, and those guys that had that season or two under their belt, it's time for us to see them kind of step up a notch. And if you take just looking at the first tournament we played, I mean, Frank Bellino came out top 20 right out of the gates. Carson qualified. He's played well in our qualifying. He played. I know he didn't play as well as he wanted to in the first event, but we just had another qualifier for the next event. He got himself in the lineup again. He's showing the senior leadership. So again, while it's still early in the season, those two guys, along with, an Oliver Ulrich, a Leon Heights, guys that are returners that we need them to be better than they were last year. I mean, that's the thing, right? You need to be better than you were last year, and we're pushing them to do that, and we're seeing some really good stuff right now.
What specifically in your program, Coach Fetcho, do you take the most pride in from a player development standpoint? What is something that Saluki Golf that you really focus on, you put a lot of your time and energy in? Because it shows. I mean, there is actually proof in the pudding, for a lack of a better phrase, that when you come here, we're going to help develop you. We're going to help get you to the point where you want to go to be an all-conference type golfer. What do you take the most pride in within the program in terms of the development piece?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. And I would say, just as I've told any recruit or anybody that comes, like, we're not a program where we heard you in here, we go out to the driving range, and we literally just hit balls, and you have to swing your golf club this certain way every time, and this is how it has to look. Quite honestly, we're the opposite. Like, we don't necessarily care what it looks like. We're caring about how quickly we can get the ball in the hole. And so I think for us, it comes down to, our preparation in our events. Like, we try to prepare better than anybody when it comes to knowing what course we're going to, what we need to be well at in advance, not just showing up and saying, oh, hey, this is what this golf course looks like, and then trying to figure it out then. Like, we're already working the process of knowing what Purdue is going to look like. We've been there before, but just in practices, trying to structure to get ready for that one. And then I think the other piece is just like the discipline to make the right choices. This just as we talked about earlier, and with this game being so mental, there's a lot of thoughts and a lot of emotions that can run in. And what we try to do is be able to have a process so that, when you're getting too high or too low, or too high, too angry, that you can fall back into the same process that kind of just makes everything run in order so that it doesn't matter if it's the first tee shot or you trying to make the putt on the 54th hole. We want to kind of go through the same process all the time, and I think those are the things we try to take pride in and really try to help see our players develop.
In today's day and age, Coach Fetcho, no program, no sport is immune from how really college athletics is today in terms of whether it's the transfer portal, moving around, going to different schools. It's part of it. You have to adjust. You have to move forward. Your program has been no different, but what have you enjoyed about the newcomers that you've added to your program where we said you know what the standard is, you know where you want to reach the standard. How can that standard still be set with some newcomers that come into your program?
Right, and I think that's the good thing about some of the things we've been able to accomplish is we have a lot of people that have wanted to be a part of it, and then when they get here and they get immersed in it and just our new guys got to partake just a couple of days ago at the football game. We got to go out on the field, show off the championship rings, get in the crowd, and when you're a new guy and you weren't part of that and you see everybody experience that, it's like I want to be able to get there, right? And it's not easy. It's not easy to do, but I think they see that, they get a part of it. I mean, and again, from day one, they've been working hard. They want to do all the right things. They want to get better. That's ultimately why they came here, was to get better and improve, and then to be part of a really good program that's going to give them the opportunity to go play in the NCAA postseason, win a conference championship, and I think we've got a really good group here that wants those things, that's been working hard. I mean, our qualifying has been really intense. The practices have been intense, but I think they're feeding off each other. Golf is very unique in terms of, all the other sports, even if, on the depth chart, you're maybe not a guy that's going to get to see action unless there's an injury or something. For us, we only travel with 5, so our people have to stay back home. They don't get that experience to be able to do that. So when we're practicing, when we're qualifying at home, it's as intense as it gets because you want to get on that bus. You want to be able to go onto that plane. You want to be able to go play, because if you don't make it into that top 5, you have to sit at home. You don't get to experience that. So I think that's what makes our deal a little bit more unique, is every time we go out, it's just heightened every day to try to do that.
You were able to have, because you just had a huge roster a year ago, to go through and say, hey, we're going to put guys in some different events when you would go throughout the fall, because to that point, as you said, you want to try to get on that bus, you want to try to get on that trip. This year, just the differences kind of in your roster makeup of, is that something you think you're going to be able to do as much this year, or is it a little bit different?
It's a little bit different this year, and I think even the guys that were on the team last year look around and they're like, sometimes they look around and it's like, is everybody on the team here? Because it is. When you have a little bit bigger roster and then it kind of drops a little bit, it's like, man, okay, wow. But I think there's good in both. But if you look at it from what we've been doing this year, it's like, it's intense. Like just in the last qualifier, we have one guy that's going through a red shirt, and another guy that got injured, so he didn't get to finish the qualifier. So we only had 7 people, but it was like, you knew looking around, like, here's an opportunity for me to step up and show it. And so I think from that standpoint, you can't really get lost in the shuffle. You have to be able to show up every day when there's just, the 7 guys fighting for 5 spots. And so I think it's been really good in that regard of it's making us more focused and more intense in our practices because of just having a smaller number.
With you being the director of golf, of course, you had to hire a women's golf coach over the summer as well. I know Rory coming in, excited for her. What are the really excitement level that you have for what she can bring to the program, and what stood out about her through the whole interview process for you?
I think we couldn't be more excited to have Rory here. I think she's hit the ground running literally from the time that she got here. Their practices are intense. I think that they've had some really intense qualifying. They're a couple tournaments into their season now. I think she learned a lot about her group in the first time out, and now they're fighting and competing right now for over at Paducah in the final round of their event. But she brings a great background because of one, she's a great competitor. She played at a high level herself. She's played in the NCAA postseason. Ultimately, that's where we want to get our programs to. So she's got that experience. She's got that knowledge. And I think also about her is she's hungry. She wants to do it. She's a go-getter. I try to offer up help and advice for her, and we have several conversations throughout the day. But she also she wants to do it. She wants to go get it. She wants to figure it out on her own. And I think to me that's very special. And I think that she's gained the respect of the players from the beginning. And I am very, very excited to see not only what the future holds, but what she's going to be able to do now. I mean, what she's doing with her player development and what's happening.
It's an area, I always tell the story how, the first time I met you, of course, was at your golf outing over a year ago, and just seeing the level of support that you have for the program within this area is amazing. But as you said, that's stuff you got to go out and earn, and you hit the ground running, and you build those relationships, and that's why it's at to the point where you're at. But I'm sure that's why it was such a huge part of this piece of looking at the women's program of you got to have that same level of commitment, and it seems like Rory's been able to do that.
She has been. She's been great. I know that she's already been out meeting with people in the community. I mean, she's been, the women's program has a strong history. There's a lot of really good things that have happened throughout, the course of time on our women's program, and a lot of them, are people that are still in this area, are still connected to the program, and I think she's trying to get out and re-engage with those people from that standpoint, which is just a whole nother element outside of coaching, of doing your own players. It's something else that she's trying to do, and I think that, like I said, she's doing a fantastic job when it comes to trying to balance all that, especially as a new coach, right?
Yeah.
I mean, no matter if you had experience somewhere else or not, still walking in and being a head coach for the first time, that's a big change. And for her, just trying to just soak it up and do it, she's we've got a really special one in Rory, and I'm really excited to have her on board as a Saluki.
Always appreciate the time, Coach Fetcho, but before I let you go, it's one of the areas you were touching up on when you got your rings over the weekend, being able to be in front of the crowd at home. I know this weekend, SEMO, going to be a bigger crowd in that type of environment. How huge is it when all these programs here can build off one another, and when you can either bring in recruits, bring in people to these type of environments like this weekend, of when Coach Hill has success in the fall, when Coach Nagy and Coach Bond White can continue that into the winter, man, it just breeds success for everybody else in their game day environments. No question can help you land recruits.
Absolutely. I mean, we talk about that whenever recruits on campus. I mean, we're always talking about the other sports, what's going on, softball winning conferences, football competing into the postseason, all those things. It's just you want people to kind of feel that energy, and even just going out at the football game, right? And, all those people are tuning in to watch a football game, right? But we roll out onto the field, and everybody's cheering, and I'm walking through the stands afterwards, and people are coming up and shaking. That's just – it goes to show what this community is all about. I mean, they are just true Salukis. Yes, you may feel passionate about a certain sport here or there, but at the end of the day, it's like we're cheering for Southern Illinois. We're cheering for the Salukis, and to me, that's what makes this whole place really special is no matter which direction you go, how far you go, if you've got SIU gear on, they're not asking you what sport you play, what it is. It's just a go Dogs, right? And I think that's I love that about this place.
Coach, appreciate your time as always. Wish you the best throughout this fall, and of course next week when you get to Purdue, and ultimately in the spring we'll catch up with you again as we go throughout the year. But appreciate the time, Coach.
Awesome.
Fetcho.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
Once again, that was Justin Fetcho. Join us here on Inside Saluki Athletics. That's going to do it for this episode of Inside Saluki Athletics, which is brought to you by Poly Eyes of Carbondale. Of course, big football game this weekend against SEMO. Kickoff will be at 6 o'clock on Saturday. Our pregame coverage on the radio will start at 5 o'clock. For the coach, Justin Fetcho, for head coach Nick Hill, Nashon Hezekiah, and Zach Grant, for all who joined us, we appreciate the time as always. We will see you this weekend at Saluki Stadium, everybody. Go Dogs.
This has been Inside Saluki Athletics, presented by Poly Eyes of Carbondale. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Saluki Sports Network.